Hiya, I'm going to talk to you today about how to warm up in the most effective way for a vocalist. So I make sure that every new student or even a student who's a regular that needs to remind themselves, have a bit of a recap with how to warm up your voice in the right way, is with three steps, which is called my SSS technique. So the first S is stretch, the second S is slide, and the third S is skill. So with the stretch, it's quite simply relaxing all the muscles around the voice box. So any pressure points here by the ears, and squish it all out around your jawline and underneath the chin to stretch the tongue. Stick your tongue out, move it around your mouth, shoulder rolls, neck stretches, breathing in and out, and connecting with the core. So all these things to engage the muscles and release any tension to get ready to sing. So you do that as much or as little as you need, depending on the day, depending on how hunched over a desk you may be, for example. So we've got the stretch, the first S. The second S is the slide. So this quite simply means making sort of siren noises to stretch the vocal cords in a sort of soothing, relaxed and even way. So you don't want to go and push at the top, you sort of want gradually open it up and lip trills too, and we can do that to pitch in maybe fifths or octaves or a mixture of both. So we do as many of them as we feel until the voice is slowly opening up. Make sure you use your lowest and your highest range without any of it feeling pushed or strained. That's the most important thing. So if you feel like you can't get the high note, just allow your voice to cut out. It's really important that we're not doing full singing at the start of our warm-up. The whole point is that it's easing your voice into it. We don't hit the scales or the arpeggios as a start to our warm-up. We do the stretch and then the slide. But then once we finish that, the third S, which is skill, can be anything you like that you think would help depending on the song that you're doing. I tend to do scales or arpeggios here, so just because it's good practice to get our next door notes versus our big interval leaps. So, and there's just plenty to choose from. So scales, da, ah. Usually I do this on a Bella Senora. Then you can maybe learn some more complicated patterns such as lovely, lazy, easy sound, and just test your pitch and make sure you can get all those different points in the warm-up. So then sometimes included in that skill, I will talk about tone and make sure that people know how to deal with the resonance of their voice. So placement, is it sort of more twangy, nya, 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 or is it more heady, ooh, ooh, and sort of working with each part of the voice to bring out different projection levels and to feel how it moves in your skull, I suppose, and how it resonates around your face and head. So once you've done those, you can move on to your song practice. So it's really important that when you're practicing your song, that you don't just sing it all the way through and go, right, that's my practice. We can all sing things all the way through, but it's not really studying the piece. So I always have, first of all, making sure all my tech is in place. We're doing a lot of online learning, but even when it comes back into face-to-face teaching, you have to make sure that your practice setup is the best it can be. So the first thing is make sure you've got a decent Bluetooth speaker. You can get them from £20 to sort of £170. You pick, and they all can produce a decent sound that fills the room, making sure that you can hear yourself against the music. You don't necessarily need a microphone to do that, but what you don't want is to sing along to a backing track that's kind of playing, that tinny sound on your phone is not going to be good for you managing your pitch. So Bluetooth speaker, making sure that you've got timestamps on your lyrics so that you can jump to certain sections of the song. So timestamps marking, say 2:20 to the middle 8 or 1:30 the chorus. And you can have that printed out or on a Google document. And then the next thing is So you've got perhaps a separate device for each thing, so making sure it doesn't get too clogged up in one place. And then you want to make sure that when you are singing, along to your backing track in the room, that you can easily sort of jump to certain parts of the track that you need to sing along to. And once that's all set up and ready to go, you want to make sure that you're really studying the song. And I'd actually start with the artist version. Make sure that you know the song and exactly what that artist does in each part. So I'd be hopping to different parts of the song, singing along with the artist, making sure I'm getting everything right and in the correct place. Then I'd hop over to a karaoke or backing track, or even try a cappella for a bit until I've got that within myself before moving over to an instrumental. And then I'd take that section, and again, you might want to line them up side by side. That's what I tend to do on my music player. I can see the full stretch of the song to jump to where I need in the timestamps, but also I have the original right next to it, so I can jump to the same place really easily. And then it's just a question of looping until I've got it. You've really got to drill these things to get it into your muscle memory. So important. And once you are confident you have got that little section, you go back a bit and then sing up to it, and back a bit again and sing up to it, so that you're seeing if you remember it by the time you get to it from further away. Because a lot of people say to me, well, the song's going okay, but I just cannot get this bit in the middle. And you can't just wait till you get there and hope for the best. You have to really study it, loop it, drill it, like I've said, and then work backwards so it's really ingrained. That's what we want. So it's the bite-sized chunks, and it's also the amount of time you do it. You don't need to be practicing and warming up for hours. You can get good warm-up done in 5 to 10 minutes. Again, depending on what you need in your day, how tired you are, how much you've been talking, what you've eaten or had to drink. So many factors that can affect your voice. So you judge it yourself. There's no one answer with how long you should practice for and what specific thing. It's so individual to you. And it's the same with your practice time, your attention span, how much time you've got that day, the pressures of the week in general. If you can get a good session even once between lessons, that's fab. You can pick up so much in that time. I also recommend that if things are about to get busy, do a short burst after the lesson while it's fresh in your head, and then a burst before, so that you've reminded yourself you could bring something new to the lesson. So with how long you practice for, it does not need to be hours on end. You could do a really kind of more valuable 10 to 15, 20-minute chunk, more than kind of hours of singing it through. If you are really logical and methodical with your practice, you can just have the most efficient. It's how you're efficient with your practice. So if you do 15 minutes of just the verse or just the chorus, and going through until you know it really well, you're singing it confidently with the backing track, great. Don't even worry about the rest of the song. Get confident with that, and then maybe next time move on to the next bit and gradually knit it together. Be really patient with the process. Don't rush through the whole song. And then finally, when you feel you are ready with the whole song, I would record myself. This is the thing, and I'm sure we've had a lot of practice in lockdown. It's all we have when we can't get on a stage. Record yourself so you can hear how it's going. How, you have to be able to assess where it's at before a teacher can then make a comment. Make sure you understand where you're at and what you want to improve. So listen to yourself back to get a real understanding of your progress, and record the different steps in that progress. So, with lesson notes, see where you are sort of from one week to the next, and compare recordings. This is the really exciting thing, when you can actually see the development process. And also, I would do the scariest thing as well, just like I'm doing right now, and I'm kind of ad-libbing here, but making sure that you can just plonk a camera in front and just go for it. Don't worry about mistakes, but it's kind of getting yourself practice for that on-stage pressure. Even though no one's there, the minute you press the recording button, sometimes you can freeze up, so you have to really test yourself and be sure that you can get past that. So get filming, watch yourself back, be comfortable with where you perform. Are you expressing yourself enough? Are you really feeling the music? Or are you too tense and maybe strained because you're aware of that filming? So kind of do it until you get used to it and you stop caring, and maybe you can even show your teacher or your friend's family a gig one day. So once you've got through that and you've got a take that you're happy with, that's what really gets your confidence up. It takes a while, sure, but how you practice is really important to lead you to that point and will make you a more confident performer, especially as you see your progress over time. So I hope that that's a good start for you in how to plan your practice. And I wish you the best of luck and a fruitful practicing experience. Good luck.